Hey everyone, Caleb with the Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with a video on this book right here. So the reason why I'm even doing this is the last video that I did that I talked about a sale you guys seem to like a little bit. I like talking about the little lessons that I learned from different books, or the lessons that you guys can learn from these different books. So with all that said and done, I'm just going to show you guys this book right here. So it's a pretty little book, and as you guys might be able to suspect, it is all about wildflowers. So this book, it's got some writing on it in there. It's got a torn page here. It's got a torn page on the back. It's definitely not in the best condition out there, but this one is from 1900 according to the copyright page. However, according to the title page, this one I'll actually hold up so you guys can see it. According to the title page, it's from 1903. It says here on the bottom. So this book, it's literally just a book showing you guys how you can identify different wildflowers, and it'll have little pictures of different wildflowers, all the different ones, or most of them. I don't know just how many there are, but there's a lot of different wildflowers. So this book, I bought it for $1. When I listed it, I knew exactly where I bought it. I actually just listed it 3 days ago, so it sold pretty quick. Something that was interesting about this book, again, I don't remember where I bought it for sure. It was a Friends of the Library sale. I believe it was one in a town called Woodland, if I'm remembering correctly. But that's up in Washington. But I bought this book for $1. It just sold for $32. So a couple things actually, lessons that you can learn from this book is, the first lesson is for knowing if you priced a book correctly. So for me, I listed it at $32. That is actually lower than a lot of the people that were selling it. However, it was higher than the person that had the worst quality of this book. So my book, it was... I said it was good condition. This person who was selling it, they said theirs was good as well, but theirs, I'd say, was closer to acceptable, whereas mine, the only issues with it really are the torn pages. Of course, torn pages are a really big issue, but the fact of the matter is, the torn page here, it just is a corner. This one here, I'm not even sure if it was a torn page. It could just be an issue from when it was being made, and this one is definitely a torn page. But these pages that were torn don't have any actual value to the book itself. They are just the blank pages that are on, like, the bookends of it, you know? So this is not the biggest issue. There is also a torn page somewhere in the middle also, but it's not like ripped out torn, it's just a little rip. But that's not like at the end of the day. The book is still readable. This person's book, it was basically in tatters, and they were asking, I want to say, like $30. So I was like, I'm gonna do 32. I'm gonna be a little bit higher than them, plus shipping, plus $2 handling, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I sold this book for. And the reason why I went for that was just I knew the market well enough. I've sold some books on flowers before. If you guys can find books, especially old books, about identifying flowers and all that sort of stuff, it can be a really good market for you to get into. So with that said, another indicator if you priced a book correctly or not, though. So first off, you want to make sure that you are as low as you can, especially if you're brand new. You want to be as low as you can so you can make sure that you got a sale. Because if you don't get the sale, then you're just going to sit on eBay eternally, and without sales, you're not getting reviews. Without reviews, you're not like building up rapport with all the buyers. You're not finding repeat buyers, all that sort of stuff. So you want to be sure that, especially if you're new, you're getting all the sales that you can. And for me, I've been doing this for years, and I still try to price on the low end because I want to get the sale sooner rather than later. So the video that I just released a little bit ago, I'm probably going to release like 2 videos today, or this might come out Friday. I don't know exactly when, but I'm going to release this one a little earlier on than what it was otherwise going to come out for. But this book, the reason why I knew it was going to come out, the reason why I also knew it was going to sell was as soon as I listed it, it was getting watchers. So when you guys can get watchers within the first few hours of when it gets sold, you guys know, like, beyond the shadow of a doubt that you priced it correctly. If you're getting a watcher as soon as it goes up, you priced it right. Something else that could be a good indicator if you priced it right or not is if you immediately get it sold. Honestly, for me though, I prefer to get watchers earlier on than a sale, because if you get a sale right off the bat, that shows that you probably went too far under. Whereas if you get watchers, it means someone's interested and they might just be waiting to get the money or something along those lines. So for me, getting a watcher right off the bat was a really good indicator for this particular book. So again, this book sold for $32. I paid $1 for it. So $32 is a lot lower than my average sale price of $70. Honestly, guys, my sales price, my average has been going down, not only because I started selling those mass market media books, but also just because of the economic downturn. I've been having a lot of my high-end sales just dry up. I have not sold a whole lot of high-end high-end books lately. All the books that I have been selling are on the lower end of things. So my average sale price has gone down, not only because I've not getting the higher end books, but also because I haven't been purchasing new high-end books and I haven't been listing them. So like because of that, all my books that I have on my store are almost exclusively under 70. But in addition to that, the sales that I've been doing some really big sales to try to get my inventory down. And because of that, my average sales price has dropped. But with all that said and done, $32 is a very good price to sell this book. It was plus shipping, plus handling. So I am definitely going to make some good money on this because, again, I paid $1. I'm going to, going to be shipping it out in this little box, going to wrap it in paper, all that sort of stuff. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I only have a couple of dollars into the entire process. This book, it's going to cost, after eBay fees, all that sort of stuff, I'm probably going to walk away with probably a little under $20 profit off this book, and then I'll have to pay taxes on all that. But $20 is not bad. So something interesting though about this particular book. So let's just say that my average sales price has dropped from $70 to, let's even say, $40. Because again, it has dropped. I don't think it's at $40, but I'm just gonna throw out a number. So as I mentioned in the other video, I'm going to a estate sale right now and buy some books. Actually, in a little bit, I'm going to be going there. And at this estate sale, I'm paying $5 for a book. So let's just say $40 is my new average. So I paid $1 for this. I get $40. Whereas if I paid $5 per book, I could have gotten 5 different books and made $200. Whereas with my new average being 40, I'll only be getting $40 for a $5 expense, you know? And because of that, I personally like spending as low of money as I can on particular books. So that's the big reason for that. Yes, I know I can still make money buying it at 5. I can make money buying it at 10, 40 bucks, whatever, depending on the book. But I like spending as low as I can because I know that there's a lot of money for me to be making elsewhere in other books. So with all that said, though, back onto the subject matter of this particular book. So this book is on Wildflowers. So something really cool about Wildflowers and books like this. So basically, guys, you have to get in the mindset of who wants to buy different books. So for me, I'm a bit of a prepper, I guess. I like to keep track of all that sort of stuff, not because I think the world's going to end and I need to hide in a bunker. I don't really see that coming, but I like being prepared for different things because I've lived long enough to see some really bad things happen. My very first memory actually is 9/11. I remember all these different things, and beyond all that, I have all these fun stories about, oh yeah, so remember this one time that I went through this and like everyone thought everyone was going to die, and oh, remember this hurricane, and remember da-da-da-da-da. It's like, I've been through a lot of really bad things. There have been some pretty severe power outages. Fun story, actually. There was a snowstorm that I got stuck in on the way back from a book sale. So I was down in Reading. I was heading back, and I got caught in a snowstorm that no one forecasted, really. It was a big oof. But I got stuck for 3 days in my car, and luckily for me, I did search and rescue, and because I did search and rescue, that's sort of where I really started becoming a hardcore prepper. Up until then, I was just only like a sort of prepper. I made sure I always had enough stuff for like so long, and then after doing search and rescue, guys, like I was like, okay, so normally I did this. Now after search and rescue, after hearing all these horror stories, after talking to all these different people, my amount of time that I try to be ready for stuff was like this long, and I always made sure that I had all these different things. So like everyone else is suffering, and they're like, oh no, I'm stuck, I'm this, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I got my shovel to dig you out here, like in my car, and I got blankets, I got all these food, water, I got all the stuff I needed to basically survive for quite a while, so I was fine. But because of that, stuff like that, I really became a bit of a prepper. I mean, it really concreted that, and because of that, I recommend that you guys honestly make sure that you have enough stuff with you at all times, because you never know when there might be a snowstorm. And again, I was stuck for 3 days, but where I was stuck, the town I was stuck in, I guess those people didn't have power for 6 months. Guys, I don't live in Puerto Rico, I don't live in Mexico, I don't live in Cambodia. I live in Oregon on the west coast of the United States of America. We don't not get power for 6 months, you would think, but we do. It does happen, all that sort of stuff. So that's something you guys really need to keep in mind. And the town I was stuck in, it was on the freeway too. So for these people to not have power for that long, of course, a lot of the town did have power, but there were the people more on the outskirts that did not for over 6 months. So that's just something to keep in mind, guys. You never know. So with all that said, though, back onto what I was starting out with. So preppers. They are one of the best book buyers from my experience. Everyone that doesn't trust the government, everyone that wants to be prepared for stuff, I would call them preppers. Of course, that is a little bit of a broad paint, brush to paint them all with. It's like, it's not quite all preppers, but it's all people that a lot of the people around Portland at least would describe as preppers, because in Portland area, if you basically get enough food to last more than a week, you are a prepper, because everyone likes going to the grocery store every week around here. I don't know why. I'm sitting here like I'll go once a month if I have to. So with all that said, though, this book about wildflowers would appeal to a prepper sort of crowd, or a homesteading sort of crowd, people that want to be self-sufficient without the internet. That is the sort of books that I like to purchase. It's the ones that I like to sell, because I know that these books are worth a whole lot of money. There's a big interest in them, and again, I can make a lot of money on these books. This one, because it's about wildflowers, it has just a little information about all the different wildflowers. So it tells you how to identify them, it tells you what these different flowers are, and I'm just telling you about the seeds, and I'm just looking really quick to see if it even talks about medical things, because there are a lot of books about like this that talk about the medical uses of all these different flowers. So again, I'm just going through really quick trying to see if I can see anything about medical uses of these, and I don't see anything, but there are a lot of books like this that talk about the medical purposes of different flowers, of different plants, of all sorts of things. Like, you'll learn from a prepper or someone who's at least been out in the wild, oh, if you get stinging nettles on you, grab a sword fern and rub the spores on that, because that'll take care of most of the itching. And that's something I've actually done. It actually works really well. If you guys have poison ivy, I don't know what to tell you guys. Where I live, we don't have poison ivy. We just have stinging nettles, which are evil. But every single one has sword fern not too far away, which will help you with the stinging, all that sort of stuff. And that's something that you learn from books, especially old books. It's like sort of that old knowledge that no one talks about anymore, because everyone wants you to buy a $40 ointment to put on it instead, whereas you can literally just walk 2 feet away from where the stinging nettle was and grab a sword fern and do it for free, that sort of stuff. So I know that was a little convoluted sort of thing. I know it was a little bit of like a prepper of evangelizing or something like that, but I really hope that you guys got the fact that prepper books, or books that would appeal to anyone that would be sort of prepper minded, those can do very well for you guys. You can make some really good money. This one was only $32, but I've sold prepper books. I'm just thinking right now, I've sold sets of them, so I think I'm actually going to include a set in this thing, but I have sold a set of like prepper books for $300 ish, and I paid, I'm going to say $300 is what I sold it for. I would say I probably paid like $8 for this particular set. Other ones, though, I've sold individual books for as much as $120, I'd say, roughly, for prepper-minded books. So it definitely is something that can be of interest for you guys. So when I am selling these prepper books, though, the ones that I see get the most interest, that are the most appealing to different prepper-minded people, are going to be the older books, because a lot of the people, like literally guys, I've talked to my buyers, and a lot of them have said that they only like buying antique books for these things because they're like, the government changes this information, and they actually like provide you sometimes that the government actually does go into books and change information for later copies, which is like, well, that's a little sketchy. I'm going to hide in a box with tinfoil hat now, but that is something that you guys will see. It's something that you will hear if you are selling these books, and there are a lot of people that will only buy antique books because they are afraid of what the government is doing, what they have done, what they censor, all that sort of stuff, because they're like, listen, the government's the most evil thing ever, that sort of stuff. And I'm not getting into that personally. I have my own opinions, but that is just the mindset that you guys want to get into when you are selling certain books, because there are some people who will be like, I'm going to buy this one book because I know this and I heard this from this one guy and all these things. You want to make sure that you sort of have all that going on. So with all that said and done, I know this was a very convoluted Oliver sort of video. I hope it was able to help you guys, though, and I will hope that you guys can subscribe, check out one of my other videos, and I'll see you in the next one.